Hello friends, in one of our previous videos, we had discussed about the formation of SUCI, the so-called foundation convention and all that, and how that was not actually a foundation convention, and how actually the SUCI as a communist party, particularly of the variety they say, the most genuine communist party which has evolved through the correct process, it did not take place on 24th April of 1948. We had given a lot of documentary evidence about it. That apart, we had mentioned in passing that during that so-called founding convention of 24th April 1948, they had adopted a thesis. For the benefit of the ordinary viewers, a thesis is generally a document adopted by a communist party during its Congress. Congress means it's a nation-wide or national level convention or meeting of its members, where they will discuss about the international situation and the national situation and adopt a document which gives an analysis of what and how they perceive. Now, SUCI did adopt a thesis, though it was not a founding convention. Now, for a long time, we were not shown that document. Though we were in the party for 36 years, many comrades before us also had not seen it. But there is such a thesis which was not shown to us. Just showing you. This is a Xerox print. So naturally, its size is bigger and obviously the number of pages have got reduced. However, we are more interested in the content of it, which I am going to discuss with you. However, the question arises, why was it not shown to us? Why was it hidden? Why so much secrecy about it? These questions become very important because what we are going to discuss is something very, very fundamental. It applies to not only SUCI, it applies to all communist parties and all political parties. Every political party has to be democratic and transparent in its activities. Democratic means it is not that selected few decide about everything and then convince the people about it. No, that's not democracy. Democracy means with the participation of everybody, you decide things. And transparency means except the most important secrets that any political party may have to sometimes preserve, the rest of the things should be known to the rank and file of the party and as far as possible to the population at large, from whom you receive donations, from whom you require participation of every kind. So a party has to be both democratic and transparent. These important principles are being called into question in our discussion. Did the SUCI follow it? Is it following it now also? Democracy and transparency. Now, as I was telling you, this thesis was not shown to us. Now, one of my friends approached a very important leader of SUCI, Asit Bhattacharya, who was at the time the office secretary, for a copy of this 1948 thesis of SUCI. He was told that it is irretrievably lost. Nobody can find it. However, very interestingly, this document has surfaced all over India and abroad also, because naturally many people had kept it with great reverence, but the party had withdrawn it. I have heard authoritatively from a source that in 1952 Shivdas Ghosh himself wanted the withdrawal of this document. Now, this concept of withdrawing a document is very peculiar. If you have adopted something in a convention or a conference or a congress, then obviously it's going to stay there forever. Have you heard of any communist party withdrawing a thesis, taking it out of circulation? You don't. You will have to accept if there is a mistake. Anyway, this was not followed, this was hidden. Now the question comes, why all this secrecy? Why was it hidden? Was there something very embarrassing in that document? Yes, it appears to us that there has been some embarrassment due for them in this document. There are a lot of points which are, as we understand SUCI and the SUCI line, they do not match. So it had to be hidden. And some of those points are very, very embarrassing. Firstly, regarding the international situation, this document again and again talks of the impending Third World War. Now, this kind of a phobia about war and a prediction of impending Third World War, we had never heard of in SUCI. Neither in today's documents or in all those documents that we have seen of, say, 70s and 80s. We had never seen this fear of impending Third World War. And the two more points are related there. They say that this Third World War is going to be between the socialist camp and imperialist camp. This way the World War was never viewed when we were there. And third point is, they are speaking as if it is inevitable. The question of peaceful coexistence and all that has not come. Now, there can be very good reasons for it, for these mistakes. Peaceful coexistence as a policy existed since Lenin and during the time of Stalin also in 1945, 46, 47, 48, 49. Repeatedly it was discussed. And in 50s it became a very important doctrine of CPSU. However, there was the concept that the camps can coexist. But this document has repeatedly talked of an impending war between these two camps. So, when you look at it, you will feel astonished that SUCI is making a prediction that there will be a Third World War and the Indian Revolution will come at that opportune moment, as if they are waiting for the Third World War. Now, this has not been talked in the SUCI documents later, nor we have heard from any leader's speech. So, obviously, this is a mistake that they did not want to be known. But more embarrassing things are coming. The next one is that they have called the international communist leadership as corrupt and incompetent. Very strong words. From the standard of SUCI, the way they uphold Stalin, they uphold Dimitrov, these are very strong words, because at that time the leaders of the international communist movement were Georgy Dimitrov of Bulgaria and Joseph Stalin of CPSU, an acknowledged world leader and authority by that time. So why did they make that comment? They are saying that the general line accepted at the 7th Congress of the Communist International was not correct, very wrong. So much wrong that it destroyed the possibilities of revolution in several countries. And which are those several countries? They mention England, France, India. Now about India, what they had said to us, what we had heard from them was, from the leadership of the SUCI, that the international line was correct, but its concretization and implementation in India was wrong. What was that international line? That is, to face fascism, a broad united front of all the political parties in a given country is required, which are anti-fascist, which are opposed to fascism. This was the meaning of the broadest unity of all forces. Now, when it was implemented in India, the CPI made a mistake. It went with the government, that is the British government, and it did not go with Congress during the Quit India movement. So this mistake does not belong to the international leadership, but it belongs only to the CPI. This was the version we had heard, and even today they are repeating in all the Netaji Day speeches. Invariably you will find, whether it is necessary today or not, they will be bashing Gandhiji on the one side and bashing CPI on the other side. However, that apart, coming back to the point, this is all we had heard about the general line. But here their criticism of general line is that it destroyed the possibility of revolutions. Where? In England and France. And they say that both these countries were on the verge of revolution. Particularly about France, they describe that they should have gone for a revolutionary upsurge. The situation was very ripe for socialist revolution. But by joining with the so-called liberal sections of the bourgeoisie, the radical sections of the bourgeoisie, they betrayed the possibility of the revolution. This criticism of the international leadership we had never heard. Whether they mean there was a difference between Stalin and Dimitrov, we do not know. They have not specified it. When they say international leadership, it obviously means both of them. And you cannot distinguish between them, because this Congress all the more took place in Moscow in 1935, and Stalin was very much there. Stalin has expressed no opposition. That means the criticism of SUCI goes against both Stalin and Dimitrov. Corrupt and incompetent. How do you justify this, gentlemen? The way you have upheld all these leaders, the way you have explained the general line that was given by the Communist International and your position in 1948, how do you reconcile? Can't reconcile. So what best to do? Hide the document. Now one more interesting thing is, in the whole world, to the extent we have seen, the major political parties have not criticized the Stalin leadership for the problem that the French did not go for a revolutionary upsurge. We have not heard that. But somebody has said it. Who has said it? Trotsky has said it. Trotsky has specifically criticized that the situation in France is ripe for revolution, and he gives even a detailed plan. After all, he was a very adventurous fellow. He had said that the communes can be formed, the Soviets can be formed, and the proletariat should go for an upsurge and all that. The SUCI line is very, very similar. This is no accident, because Shivdas Ghosh was part of the RSP, Revolutionary Socialist Party, which was a Trotskyite party. Now, for the beginners who do not know, Trotsky was the kind of man who had gone against Stalin, who had gone against CPSU, who was against the concept that socialism can be established in a single country. Not only that, he was for exporting revolution to other countries. He was proposing a theory called permanent revolution. And much more than that, the SUCI itself has repeatedly said that Trotskyite bent of conspiratorial mind, conspiratorial style of working. This was the hallmark of Trotsky. Now, that's why Trotskyite is a word which any communist would very much dislike. It is like an abuse, a very serious criticism. But that line of Trotsky has got into this document. As I said, it's not curious. There is a reason. The reason is RSP was a Trotskyite party, and Shivdas Ghosh and all the leaders of this first central committee of SUCI were directly or indirectly part of RSP or influenced by RSP. So this line has come. Now I will tell you the last and most important thing about it before we fold this particular aspect. That is, the last paragraph of the international thesis is very, very interesting. What does it say? I will have to read it out only because there are 4 or 5 sentences. The officially recognized communist parties also are to change their attitude towards the ultraists and Trotskyites. Their hostile and unnecessary bitter criticism was in no way less responsible for pushing the permanentists, permanentists meaning Trotskyites, towards the enemy camp. It's a strategical blunder. Surely the fourth internationalists have got a role against the capitalist world. Fourth international means the followers of Trotsky. Then why should we not, we who claim ourselves to be Marxist-Leninists, utilize that force to the maximum of our advantage? So on and so forth. So they feel the criticism about Trotsky was very bitter. Who made that bitter criticism? Some fellow in CPI in India, some obscure fellow in Africa or Latin America. Who led the fight against Trotsky? Whose criticism was most bitter? Stalin. Stalin led the charge against Trotsky. So you are saying that Stalin and his comrades made unnecessarily bitter criticism about Trotsky. And who was Trotsky? Trotsky had conspired against socialism in USSR. There was even a charge that in the killing of Kirov, the number 2 in CPSU, was because of a Trotskyite conspiracy with other leaders who were there inside Soviet Union like Zinoviev and Kamenev. There was a famous trial which the SUCI leaders are now very fond of. Every cadre talks of Moscow trials, Moscow trials. And during the Moscow trials, the conspiracy of all these villains were proved. Yes, it was proved. Now SUCI is very fond of quoting Grover Fur, the book Khrushchev Lied and other books of Fur. Now what is the conclusion? That Trotsky was a conspirator. But you want that there should be no bitter criticism of him. Why it happened? You have come from that party, Trotskyite party. You have not cleaned yourselves thoroughly, but you have formed the party in a hurry. So it has remained. But now you are teaching everybody how to form a party. Only after correct ideological centralism has developed on all questions of life, on all aspects of Marxism, Leninism, philosophy, epistemology, only then you should form the party. Having preached it, now it is very difficult for you to swallow your words. That's why the convenient thing is hide the document. There is, of course, many more things to be said, but I will cut it short. This is about international situation. About national situation, again, there are some embarrassments. There are some very, very, incongruous things in this document. And one of the things, very interesting things, is this document calls for unity of India, Bengal and Punjab. Bengal and Punjab means East Pakistan and West Pakistan. What does unity of India, Bengal and Punjab mean? If you mean that there was a communal strife after partition, walls are built among the common people, they are to be brought together, you will talk of the unity of the people of Pakistan and India. You will not say unity of India, Punjab and Bengal. This is again repeated still later, that Indian Union should have unity with Pakistan. So these are all very confusing statements. Did it come out of any feeling that Bengal is divided, we should all unite again? If such a desire was there, that is un-Marxist, unhistoric, because once two sovereign states have been formed, India and Pakistan, they cannot merge, however much Punjabis may feel for it or Bengalis may feel for it. That reality should have been recognized. This is another embarrassment. One more embarrassment is what we discussed in our previous episode. That is, here again they are telling that we are in the process of forming a working class party. Now this is no accident, this is no slip of the tongue, this is no slip of the pen. That was their line. They had not formed the party. So not only in this document, one related document I will tell you, in 1955, they have again talked of forming a genuine communist party in India. Meaning in 1948, 24th April, nothing was formed. No genuine communist party was formed. Here there is a very interesting thing. 100 people came out of CPI in Andhra Pradesh. They were led by a comrade called Comrade C.V.K. Rao. So the SUCI is very jubilant about it. They held a joint meeting with this faction in Kakinada. After holding that meeting in Kakinada from December 12th to December 16th of 1954, they issued a joint statement. This joint statement was by the General Secretary of that splinter group of CPI, which called itself as Communist Unity Center. Who signed this statement on their behalf? C.V.K. Rao. And who signed this statement on behalf of SUCI? Shivdas Ghosh. And in that they are telling that we all should come together and build a genuine communist party. This was not reported in any bourgeois press, and you can simply dismiss it as bourgeois conspiracy, comrade. It was not our statement. It is printed in your own paper, Ganadabi. Ganadabi, volume number 7. Note it. Number 5, 15 January 1955, page number 4. They have asked for the unity of all genuine communist parties. The unity of all genuine communist parties to wage a true working class movement in the country. So my friends, to get out of this embarrassment, this document was hidden. Now, is it a good practice? If you are an SUCI cadre and if you are ready to behave like a bhakt, yes, you will say that, yes, comrade, why we should tell everything to the society? Why you should tell everything to everybody? It is our party's document. That only shows your political immaturity. The party thesis is not the decision of a kitchen cabinet. It is not for your internal discussion in your general body meeting. Some of the communist parties are even following the practice of distributing the draft thesis for public discussion. See, CPM has this time distributed publicly the thesis for discussion. After that, whatever, they will adopt it in their Congress. Once again, it will be printed and circulated among the people. Same thing about party constitution. It is not for you people to talk hush-hush. People who want to join SUCI will ask for your thesis. When was your recent Congress held? What was the thesis adopted? What was the constitution adopted? Give us the copies. We like to judge your party on its basis. And then we will decide whether we join or not. If you are a very ordinary cadre enamored by some leader, calling them appa, amma, father, mother, you like to emotionally join, that is your problem. But if you want to be a conscious political worker, not an emotional bhakta, they will ask for political line. The democratic rights enshrined in the constitution, knowing that only you can join any party, any political party, whether bourgeois or petty bourgeois or revolutionary party. How can it be hidden from the cadres? How can it be hidden from the common people? Everything has to be transparent. If you cannot make these things transparent, then you do not become a political party, you become a sect. And that is exactly our criticism of SUCI. It is a cult centered around a leader or a bunch of leaders. It is a sect which has completely cocooned itself, encapsulated itself from public scrutiny. It's not open. Everything happens among themselves. Then it cannot become a movement. This is the tragedy. So it is not that we just like to embrace SUCI or just to expose this or that point. It's a very serious question. How political parties are to function, how a communist party has to function. So we have raised this issue. Sometimes the SUCI cadres, after listening to our discussion, ask us, why comrade, why are you exposing the party in which you were there? Comrade, we are exposing because we were there. If we are not able to say these things, who will be able to say this? And why do you think it damages you? We were all once attracted to the SUCI by a quotation of Comrade Shivdas Ghosh, where he says, whoever criticizes us, be he a comrade or an outsider or even an enemy, he is our teacher. If you believe in it, then you must welcome these discussions. You can't say, why do you criticize? We have recruited our family people, our friends, our classmates, and a large number of cadres who believed. Today when I see that these things happened right under the gaze of Shivdas Ghosh, why just gaze? He must be knowing everything. So then our image of the party and even Shivdas Ghosh has taken a beating. It pains us. How naive and innocent we were for 36, 37 years. And how we recruited so many people. We believed in you. We said that our party was formed in such and such a way. Our party stands for very high political culture, morality. As far as I can remember, some 2-3 people in Indian politics have talked repeatedly of morality and culture in politics. Mahatma Gandhi is one of them. Shivdas Ghosh is another. To an extent, Lohia has talked of it. But the Lohiites, in different ways, they went astray. We don't take them seriously. But we took Shivdas Ghosh very seriously about his call for morality and culture in politics. But if things are hidden, if lies are spoken, then that's a tragic thing which anybody interested in SUCI, its health, its growth, should correct it. We are neither anti-SUCI nor anti-Shivdas Ghosh. We still respect whatever is good in SUCI. We will not hesitate to say good things about SUCI. We have said, and we can say again. We can also say good things about Shivdas Ghosh. We have learned quite a few things from him. But the whole thing is not as we thought, neither the leader nor the party. And this cannot be hidden, shall not be hidden. There should be public debate. Why? Why is it important? Because let the SUCI come out of its complacence that it is a perfect party. The leaders know it is not, but the cadres shall come out of complacence. They shall understand that their party has made mistakes. If they have made a mistake, what's the problem? Many communist parties all over the world have committed mistakes. They have accepted it. You criticize so much CPI and CPM, no? Have they not accepted their mistakes about Netaji or about 42 movement or about even Nandigram? You may say that their acceptance is not sincere, this and that and all. But fact is they have accepted. Why don't you make a beginning by accepting mistakes? That will be very good for your health. So with due respect to you, with concern and concern for the left movement. So if arrogance comes down, modesty increases, relation with other left parties becomes better, it is good for the struggle against fascism. Even now you are committing mistakes by calling Congress and BJP are two faces of the same coin, repeating it ad nauseum. Every speech, whether on Netaji or on today's situation, will be permeated with this line, which is a wrong line. When fascist menace under the Sangh Parivar is growing, you should be bold enough to catch the bull by the horns and characterize what is BJP, what is its fascism. This was the analysis which we wanted to place before you on the thesis of SUCI adopted in their so-called founding convention of 24th April 1948, which we have very humorously called the mystery of the missing thesis. So it's no longer missing. Let the debate continue.